Big Podcast.
Have you ever seen a Prius with a drill baby drill bumper sticker on it? It's confusing, right? I actually relate to that car pretty well because there's a part of me that wants to be seen, and there's a part of me that wants to be on the sidelines, behind the scenes. I'm very comfortable with being a producer. I'm a little more comfortable with being behind the mic, but you're not going to see me doing a lot of video. I'm not interested in being on YouTube. I get it. Sometimes you want to be seen, but other times you want to be on the sidelines. We're going to talk about that on this episode of Build a Big Podcast. This is the podcast about growing your podcast, getting more people to your podcast, making more money with your podcast, making a podcast that people care about. If you feel like nobody's listening, you're shouting into a stadium full of other people that are shouting. That's basically what social media is. You are in the right place to get help for that. My name is David Hooper, and you can find me at bigpodcast.com. Right now, I am in the middle, and because you were here listening, you are in the middle too, of a series I'm doing on Josh Spector's ways that you can make your voice stand out. The previous 3 elements that I've discussed, you can find them at bigpodcast.com/subscribe. They are there right now waiting for you to listen to them. On this episode, I'm going to talk about standing out. And this is what Josh says about this. He says, we're raised to fit in with the crowd. It's a defense mechanism. It's also the opposite of what makes a compelling voice. Don't try to fit in with what others are doing. Do things your own way. He's written this list for writers, but this is for any content creator, social media, YouTuber, podcaster. He says this, though: write what others won't in ways that others don't. Translate to you as a podcaster: podcast what others won't in ways that others don't. The faces in the crowd don't get noticed. The ones who break from it do. Yeah, kind of, maybe, sort of. On the last episode, we talked about showcasing your flaws. Those are Josh's words, not mine. I think it's fine to put your flaws out there. Do you want to showcase them? Don't hide them, but you don't necessarily have to put a spotlight on them. And standing out, I don't completely agree with this. Yes, go ahead and put yourself out there. Let your freak flag fly. Plan it. See if somebody salutes it. People are waiting for you to do that. But he's saying this: we're raised to fit in with the crowd. It's a defense mechanism. It's also the opposite of what makes a compelling voice. Maybe, but I've got a background in the music industry. I used to have musicians tell me this all the time. I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. I say, how do you tune your guitar? E-A-D-G-B-E. Those are the 6 strings. Well, you're doing what everybody else is doing. What time signature are you using? Pop music, rock and roll, 4/4. Everybody else is doing that. Maybe you should do a waltz. 3/4, maybe some math rock, a 9/8 signature. People have done it, right? But is it going to appeal to the masses? No. So doing what the crowd is not doing, that alone is not going to get you where you want to go. Sometimes you want to do what the crowd is doing, but bring your own energy into it, bring your own voice into it. Yeah, maybe share a flaw, not necessarily showcase it. That's why I'm going through this list one by one. To get attention for your podcast, to get listeners, to get money, to make a podcast that people care about and would miss if it's gone, it is not as easy as just doing the opposite from what everybody else is doing. He says, don't try to fit in with what others are doing. Yeah, maybe you do want to fit in with what others are doing. I do agree with him on this. Do things your own way. Yeah, do things your own way. But before you do things your own way, you've got to know the rules. You want to break the rules? You got to know what they are. And there's a very good reason that things are the way they are. We've got best practices in podcasting. Do not try to get into podcasting and reinvent the wheel. Learn from people who are already there. Once you understand why they're doing it, break the rules. But if you get in there and think, oh, this makes sense to me, you've got no podcasting experience. Look, I'm not against innovation, but there's usually a reason why people are doing something. And it's important for you to get in there, get your feet wet, do some episodes, maybe just copy what somebody else is doing. You're not going to do it exactly. So those little changes, that's going to be enough for you to stand out, or enough for you to get started, or enough for you to understand why they are doing it that way. Because when you try to change something, it doesn't work for you. I've had people tell me pre-interviews are stupid. Don't do a pre-interview. You want the excitement of a first-time meeting on tape. I think that's stupid. I do pre-interviews all the time. I've done thousands of episodes. I do hundreds per year. I'm on the radio daily. I've got a second show. I'm on the radio weekly. I'm doing this podcast. I'm working on multiple podcasting projects. So we're talking thousands and thousands of episodes. That is not an exaggeration. If you have a guest you want to do a pre-interview, not ever meeting somebody, not ever doing research, yeah, that'll make you stand out. That's not how you want to stand out though, man. The compelling voice is you taking those best practices and doing them your way, bringing your personality into it. Again, not necessarily showcasing the flaws, but bringing in your background. I mentioned the music industry. That has influenced how I do podcasting, how I do interviews. 25 years in music marketing, growing up in Nashville, doing my first session when I was 5 years old. Related to that, there's a flashback post that I just put on Facebook, something from 2009, I think, so almost 20 years. There was some software that I designed for web audio. Get your music online. At the time, a very big deal. We didn't have Spotify. We had the remnants of Napster, whatever variation that was at the time. We had iTunes, wasn't even called Apple Music at the time. You could download music that you purchased, but streaming like we do now, pay one flat fee, that wasn't a thing, not in the United States in 2009. CDs were still a thing for independent people. And to put them online, not that easy. So I had some software. I mentioned that. And I mentioned some other things that I had done. I've produced over 200 audiobooks. Again, thousands and thousands of radio episodes and podcasts. All of those things come together to make me a unique voice in podcasting. I don't do YouTube. Pod AF stands for audio first, by the way. What do you think it stood for? That's what's going to make you stand out. It's not doing the opposite. It's doing your thing and the best practices of podcasting and finding that sweet spot, bringing yourself to the table, bringing your experiences to the table, your stories, your beliefs, your hopes, your dreams. He says, faces in the crowd don't get noticed. The ones who break from it do. Well, that's how to do that. Be yourself. Put yourself out there. You don't have to showcase it. Just do it. I'll leave you with this story. I see this sometimes with cars. I'll pick you up in my Tesla. Dude, you don't need to tell me you're picking me up in a Tesla. Just show up. I will see that you were in a Tesla. Oh, let me look at my Rolex and see what time it is. Yeah. Just look at the time and tell me what time it is. I will notice that it is a Rolex. The people that need to know. It happens by showing up. If you want more help on how to do this, reach out to me, bigpodcast.com. If you want the rest of this series, I've already got 3 before this one, and I've got some others coming. You can find everything at bigpodcast.com/subscribe. That is the way to subscribe to this podcast to make sure you never miss an episode. It is free. I've got 3 buttons for you, one for iPhone, one for Android, one for an RSS feed. Pick the one you want, man. I will deliver this podcast to you each and every time it is released. It is free. You can unsubscribe at any time, and we will remain friends. I'm not even going to be offended. So why don't you check it out? There's no obligation. bigpodcast.com/subscribe. Click the button that matches your style, and I'll see you on the next episode of Build a Big Podcast.